Nocturnal Codex. At the hour when shadows lengthen and the world grows quiet, the mind refuses silence. I place the seals of sound upon my ears, summoning symphonies that drown the clamor within, and descend into the labyrinth of recollection. There, in the velvet dark, the reservoirs of sorrow rise unbidden, pressing against the gates of the eyes, yet no tear is granted passage. In that suspended anguish, I bow instead to gratitude, that austere and luminous companion. For I have endured what flesh was never meant to carry. I have walked through the gauntlet of savage hands. I have known the theft of security and the exile of the streets. I have borne the violation of trust and the engineered forgetting of the body, when healers became architects of coma. I have felt the vessel detach, hovering at the threshold of dissolution, and in that liminal abyss, I chose, fiercely, deliberately, to reclaim the flesh and resurrect within the same temple. I have survived the slow crucifixion of spirit, twin blades of ice tracing the length of the spine, from the occiput to the coccyx in merciless deliberation, followed by the spectral hand that reached within and tore the axis of self from its mooring, every agonizing increment witnessed in full consciousness. And yet, in the aftermath of these trials, when life now unfolds as a golden chalice encrusted with the light of 1,000,000,000,000 diamonds, an ancient doubt whispers, "By what right do I partake? Why does this vessel still draw breath, while others fall nightly into the arms of oblivion? Why do I feast as a king, while multitudes hunger in the outer darkness?" The mind circles these questions like a planet around an unseen sun, pondering survival, pondering chaos, pondering the cruel asymmetry of fortune. In these midnight vigils, unworthiness becomes a mirror more honest than any scripture. It asks not for pity, but for reckoning. It declares, "I am broken, yet unbroken. My life is radiant and solemn, coming toward the same temple." And in that liminal abyss, I chose fiercely, deliberately, to reclaim the flesh and resurrect within the same temple. I have survived the slow crucifixion of spirit, twin blades of ice tracing the length of the spine, from the occiput to the coccyx, in merciless deliberation. To any soul who walks this same shadowed corridor and hears the same accusation, "You are not worthy," I offer this encrypted truth, forged in the crucible of nights like these. You are not alone in your fracture. The feeling of unworthiness is not evidence of your guilt, but of your depth. The most luminous lives are rarely granted to those who feel deserving. They are entrusted to those who have been broken open by the unbearable and still chose return. If the source, call it God, call it the infinite intelligence, call it the great witness, has continued to pour gifts into your trembling hands, then perhaps the unworthiness you feel is not condemnation, but initiation. The worthy life is never the easy one. It is the one that demands you transmute every scar into testimony, every fracture into wider vision. Do not surrender the vessel. Lead the unseen multitude by the quiet ferocity of your continuance. Change the architecture of thought, though the labor feels Sisyphean. Turn your suffering into speech, into poem, into coded fire that others may warm themselves by when their own night descends. For in the end, survival itself becomes the deepest philosophy. To have passed through death and chosen life again, to have felt the spine torn from its mooring and still stand upright, to feast while remembering hunger. This is not accident. This is the mystery speaking through you. When the mind grows loud at night, let it speak. Then answer it, not with denial, but with the disciplined alchemy of creation. Find your outlet, forge your codex, and in the making, become worthy, not by erasing the past, but by illuminating it so fiercely that even the darkness learns to bow.